A new drummer for a new awakening.
Across the realms and around the world, welcome to Outside the Box. Tonight, your host and vessel of spirit is Nancy Zilversmit. We hope that you will learn to have the strength and courage to step outside the box and dwell with spirit, and to leave the old beliefs that hold you down behind you and rediscover your spirituality in new ways.
Good afternoon. It is May 6th, 2015, and this show is brought to you by www.sanctuaryofsacredspace.com. And today I'm going to be talking about inspirations and insights. So we will be taking a look at that, but first we're going to go ahead and announce the events that are coming up. On Fridays and Saturdays, you can find me at Melting Heart Boutique from 12 to 5 o'clock for readings, energy work, spiritual counseling, and pretty much any other needs that you have. That is at 702 West Camelback Road, Suite 12 in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's on the north side of the building. They are hoping to open the south side of the building soon, but the north side is where you have to come in. I'm also available for private session by phone or Skype, or locally by house call or office visit. And my services are listed at www.sanctuaryofsacredspace.com. There's a lot more services than I announce here on the show. Okay, and also any classes that are coming up are also listed there. On May 12th at Melting Heart Boutique, we are also starting a tarot class. So if you are interested in that, you can contact me for registration. I do require a pre-registration. I only allow 6 people in the class and no more, because I like to give individual attention to people as they are learning their tarot cards. And it is a 12-week course. It's $20 a week. So contact me if you are interested. Okay. What we're going to do is, first I'm going to give you the definition of inspiration. And inspiration is something that makes someone want to do something, or gives someone an idea of what to do to create. It is a force or an influence that inspires somebody, a person, place, or thing, or experience that makes someone want to do or create something. A good idea. In the old dictionary, it was a divine influence or action a person believed to qualify him or her to receive and communicate a sacred revelation, and that's how most of our holy scriptures in different religions were written, and it was by divine inspiration. And we're going to talk about that quite a bit today. It's also an action or power of moving the intellect or emotions. It is the act of influencing or suggesting opinions. The act of specifically drawing in of air into the lungs is also inspiration. But I believe it's pronounced inspiration. So it's spelled exactly the same, pronounced a little bit differently. And it's the quality or state of being inspired. The scheme has that was of pure inspiration, an inspiring agent or influence. So you can look at when you're defining it, where does the inspiration for your art come from? Has his paintings taken their inspiration from nature? She had a sudden inspiration. Okay, sudden inspiration. I get a lot of those. There are. There's another term when you're talking about a specific person. It's an inspirationalist, and that's one who holds to inspiration, especially divine inspiration. Not much of a definition for that. So if you are an inspired person, you are an inspirationalist. Okay, inspired inspired people, they don't have time for procrastination. I mean, when they become inspired, it's like they want to do it immediately. There's no putting it off. If it's a truly inspired person, they want to move forward now. They want to step forward with it. They want to get started. There's no waiting. The time that it is now. They want to do it in the now, not way out in the future. They don't want to think about the past at all. They just want to move forward. So whether it's putting something into motion, whether it's speaking, whether it's writing, whether it's creating, it's in the now. It's very much right now. You hear people saying you have to live in the now. You have to live in the now because that's where you are right now. You're not in the past. You're not in the future. A future is imagined. So when you have that inspiration, now is where we are in the moment. Okay? And so inspiration leads to action. And when is that action? Now. That action is now. And don't worry, and I just got told from Spirit, don't go so fast, don't go so fast. Okay, so, because I tend to do that. I tend to go really fast with my talking. So don't worry about validation from the rest of the world. If you are being inspired, it's coming from somewhere else. And you don't need to worry about what people in the world think. If you have naysayers, there are always those naysayers out there. Do what you are inspired to do with passion and with passion. And this is all handwritten. This is all handwritten today. And it's because I had one of my little inspiring spirits with me they were telling me things. I was writing as fast as possible, but no time to type it out. So it's all handwritten. So when you have inspiration, you can be either in front of a computer. In the old days, it was a typewriter, and you can be typing it in. I've done it that way before, but I have this thing of going back and correcting, so it doesn't come in as quickly. They get mad at me when I do that, and they basically just say, you know what, let's just write it. So I write out, and it's sheets and sheets of paper. If I go back and type it, which I won't, I'll end up putting it away written. But if I do end up going back and typing it, it's like half the amount of paper as what it is when I handwrite it out, because I write large and very fast when I do write. And so it's just like, do what you're inspired to do. Do it with passion. You know, if you're inspired to do something, you're going to get hit with the emotion of passion. It's going to come through. It's going to want to make you do it, and you're going to be very much in the know as to what it is that needs to be done. And it's like if you've had a problem for quite a while and you didn't know and you slept on it, and that inspiration came while you were sleeping, and you woke up in the morning and you want to just move on it right away. Move on it right away. And it's what you're inspired to do, and you get very passionate about it. But if you become inspired, know that the way is cleared in front of you, the doors will open, and I'm being told to slow down again, and the doors will open. Okay? You have time to do everything that is important. A lot of times people feel like, oh, I don't have time to do that. I got so many other things on my list that I've got to do. I've got a schedule. I've got a routine. And it's just like basically that schedule and routine is going to change if you don't just move forward with it, with the passion to do that. If you feel you won't have the time, it will be made for you. And I know several people, including myself, where I've tried to go, oh, I don't have the time. I have these other things that are important. And then suddenly my agenda cleared. People canceled, people changed their dates and stuff. And it's just like, okay, now I have the time. It's not the way I wanted to do it, but it's, because I wanted to get things done, but Spirit just cleared the everything off the calendar. And it's just like, okay, then people are canceling, people are rescheduling. Things I thought I had to do aren't going to get done. So I just have to, it's like when we talked about the manifestation list, you just have to move it to another day, be flexible, go with it. And if the inspiration was from the divine, and they're stressing was from the divine, and you said you don't have time, be careful what you have declared. And I tell people this all the time, be careful what you say. Be careful and be specific, because if you're not specific, things will happen, and maybe in a way that you did not expect it to happen. And the divine will cause you to have time, because if your inspiration is truly coming from spirit or a higher power, it doesn't matter if you think you don't have the time. If it is that important, the divine will make the time, and you will have the time. And I know you just saw me have a flash there on the screen. It's because I just switched over to the studio, which I forgot to do. So it will be made for you. The time will be made. And I have had people before who said, I'm not ready to start on my path now, even though Spirit told me it's time to step forward. And all of a sudden they lose their job. I have had several people over the years lose their job or become unemployed for a long period of time because they were supposed to be doing something else. And Spirit said, this is more important. Yes, money will come in another way, but it's going to clear your agenda so you have time to do what you are supposed to be doing. Whether it's getting your spiritual education, whether it's starting your own business that's spiritual based, whether it is providing service to others, whatever it is, Spirit will provide it. Okay? You can't say that you can't do it, because if you are supposed to do it, and the divine has decided the time is now, it's going to happen. Okay? And if you say no, other than the loss of job, I've seen people come down with illness suddenly, and it's changed their schedule around. They have setbacks. A place where I work at, and I work at several different places. One of the places I work at, the owner was very, very spiritual, but she was spending too much time burning and selling incense. More important things in the entire shop needed to be looked towards. More important things. And she's constantly burning this incense. It affected me. I lost my voice for about a week. And I told her about it. I said, it's the incense you're burning. You caused me to lose my voice. And it happened during a class. I walked in, I was fine, and then I almost lost my voice into the class. And I said, you've got to stop burning so much incense in here. She didn't listen. And she went on doing it, and oh, this kind of incense, oh, that kind of incense, trying to sell people that when she should have been talking to people about other things. She should have been talking to them about the events, about the classes that were being taught there. It may come as a dream or a vision. You may feel suddenly surrounded by energy. Okay, suddenly surrounded by energy that's holding you and supporting you, and that is if you are energetically able. If you've got clairsentience, you'll feel the energy. Okay, I went to a lecture this last Saturday just before work. It was at the same location, and it was a lecture that had been scheduled to be done at another location the month before, and it had been canceled because there had been some changeover in the management. So they got rescheduled where I was doing my Saturday readings, and I went in early, and but I had some issues about getting there early enough to to make it to this lecture. And the thing is that I had a child that needed my grandchild watched while she's moving. She suddenly decided she's going to move into a house from apartment after 5 years. Yay. I mean, she's a little farther away than 5 minutes from me, but she needs somebody to watch the grandchild, which is my grandchild. And I said, okay, but I have to have you back here by a certain time so that I can go to this lecture. Well, originally we had scheduled it that she'd be back by 11:15, and then I remembered that this lecture was at 10. So what happened was she got everything done, even though she said, well, I have until 11:15. That was when we blah, 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 set the time. I said, okay, but try and get back as early as possible. She made it back in time. They picked up the stuff. They moved it. They used my SUV. That's why they were using for their moving. And they only had so much seating so that they could fit everything in there, and they couldn't take a car seat with them, with the grandchild. So I had to watch her. But she got back early enough for me to get across town, and the lecture hadn't started yet when I got there. It was running late. So when they want you in a place, they will arrange for it to happen, okay? What they did is they arranged for it to happen a little late, and they pushed my daughter a little faster, and I got there in time. Well, the thing is it's a John of God lecture. They were talking about people who've gone down to Brazil to the spiritual healer down there, and what happened and what the process is, because there were people that were interested in going. And during this entire lecture, as soon as the lecture started up and they started showing the short video clips, they had 3 short video clips, and then the rest of it was all lecture. And there was, they're having their discussions and everything's going on, and I've got all this chatter going on over here. I've got spirit doing chatter, 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 and I'm going, oh my God, and all this energy all the way around me, and it's just like from extreme heat to extreme cold, and I don't get the menopausal stuff, and I'm way past that anyway. So it wasn't me. It wasn't biological. It wasn't the room. It was energy and spirit chattering back and forth, and hands on the shoulder, and nudges and all kinds of other things. It wasn't that they wanted me to say anything. They just wanted me to listen, and they were giving me their commentary on the side. And I said, okay. And I'm saying it in my head, in my thoughts, because I didn't want to interrupt what was going on. It's basically, are we going to Brazil? Are we making some kind of trip somewhere? What have you gotten planned? But obviously there's something going on, because you guys are all in here. You're buzzing all over, and I'm feeling all your energy, and I'm even feeling Source's energy. And I'm going, okay, whatever it is, you open the doors, make it happen, and when it's time, just set it all up. Just set it all up. And it's basically when stuff like that happens and it's time, then things happen very, very fast. Very fast. I've moved from one location to another very fast, as far as business or work, as far as taking trips, where it's a spiritual-based trip. Things fall into place, the money appears, people provide for it, I go do whatever work needs to be done. I've flown to Texas, I've flown to New York, I've flown to California, I've been up north, I've been out on the res. It's just when it's time, everything appears, and it happens very quickly. And my calendar clears, and I'm gone. So now I'm waiting. So I'll see when that happens. I have no idea when. That could be a year from now. That could be next week. Who knows? But when it happens, it's going to happen very quickly. So whatever they're having me do, and I don't know if it's going to involve going to Brazil, but it's going to have something to do with another healing trip eventually. So sometimes we call inspirations insights, because it comes from within us, and an insight comes from within. It's the sight within a person, and it's also an inspiration. But people that don't like to call it inspirations call it insights, and so it's that aha moment. for those that are non-spiritual. It's that aha moment where you suddenly realize that you've got a new piece of information. You don't know where it came from. You think it came from within yourself. It did, but it may have come from beyond yourself to within yourself so that you could comprehend what it is that's going on. So take that information, whatever you believe, take that information and follow it. Okay? Follow it. And take that information and research it. Oh my God, I've done that so many times. I'll get a word, or I'll get a flash of a picture, or I'll get a person's name, and I'll get led to get on the internet and research that. If I don't have it on a book, internet's more. It's faster nowadays, but sometimes you find out you already have the books. You buy books and you put them aside because you can't read all those books all of a sudden. I have a huge library and I'm putting most of it up for sale, but a lot of it was research, not only for my old radio shows, but for my classrooms and for teaching. It was a lot of reference material. And sometimes it was not that I needed the entire book. It was sometimes I needed a sentence. It was sometimes that I needed a paragraph. It was sometimes I needed a chapter of information. Occasionally it was a whole book, but not always. Okay? So know that when you get information, research it. Sometimes when you take one keyword and you research it, it leads you to another keyword. Okay, you go on Google or Yahoo, whatever you use, whatever search engine. You plug in that word, and you'll go to several different articles and read them, and they'll lead to another word. You click on that word, you go to that other thing. You go to the next article, and you get another word, and you click on that, and you keep doing that. And what it does is Spirit has led you, and it's like click, 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 and finally you get the subject matter of what it is that you need. It used to happen to me a lot, still does, not as often, but I used to tell students that that's what you need to do. You need to follow that. It's like they leave a breadcrumb trail for you, and they know that Spirit loves the internet because they love traveling. Energy, and that's what internet is. It's all energy. It's all connected through the Wi-Fi and the cable and the yeah, they're showing me all kinds of cables underground and stuff. Okay, satellites. Thank you. Anyway, it's energy, and they travel it very quickly, and they expect you to pick up the breadcrumbs that they've left you. They'll leave you a key word or subject matter. So go ahead and research it. Things you've already collected but may not have had the time, and I said that was books. Sometimes you may have a paper, you may have an article that you printed out and then just put aside. I used to do that a lot. I'd print out articles and set them aside. The leads to the next piece. They're that aha. And when you get to that final piece of where you're supposed to be, that last breadcrumb which leads you to the pie, you get another one of those aha moments. Oh, this is it. And you check in with Spirit and go, is this it? Did I find it? Yes. Okay. Thank you. And then and you'll either get hit with energy or however they signal you. Sometimes it's the high pitched download. And I have a new class of students that they're in their second week of the Gifts of Spirit class, and they're going, I had one of those high pitched things you were talking about. And I went, yep. So did I, except I had one that was not only downloading information, but it was throwing information out, because as soon as it started downloading on one side, I had this funnel thing on the other side. Okay, there you go. And where it started from my ear and blew out all at once. And it's just like, boop, boop, just blew it all out, anything that somebody else had planted in there. And it's like, okay, that's different. Usually we just get the downloads in one or the other ears or both ears at the same time, and now you're blowing stuff out. But that was because I had visited with somebody that had a lot of negative things today to say, and I guess wanted me to dwell on it, and Spirit said, no, that's gone, out the other side of the head. And it's just like, okay, that's new. We haven't had that done before. understand that when you have an insight, it's usually an unexpected shift, and you need to just look at it with some understanding that it's going to lead you somewhere else, and you need to take a look at it. It's other words that people use that are non-spiritual. They had an epiphany or a sudden flash of clarity. Okay, same thing. It's still an inspiration, it's still an insight, but they're calling it an epiphany or a sudden flash of clarity. And it may come at a very unexpected moment. It may come at a very unexpected moment. You may be in the middle of washing your dishes and listening to music, and all of a sudden you have to shut that music off because you've got this thought going on, and it's just like, okay, what was that? Shut the music off. Stop doing the dishes. And it's just like, what was? Oh, okay, there it is. I know what to do now. But I want to finish my dishes first. That's usually me. I will tell Spirit, I'm going to finish what I'm doing right now, and then I will move on, because they usually catch me in the middle of something. It's just like, I am driving now. If you are going to give me some kind of inspiration or say something to me, I cannot write it down while I am driving down the freeway. Remind me when we get home, and I will get a pencil and paper or whatever, and I will write it down for you. Because I want all of the verbiage. I want all of the verbiage. So those sudden flashes of clarity, pay attention to them because they are very important. Don't be one of those people that just brush it off. Because if you brush it off, sometimes it's a lost opportunity, or it's something you were supposed to do, and they're going to hit you over the head a little bit harder next time to make sure it gets through your noggin, okay? So what you need to do is you need to be curious, follow that curiosity, engage in it. Engage in being curious. Get out there, take that curiosity wherever it's going to take you, look for it. Look for the answers, okay? And something else that you might want to do. Let your mind wander. It's okay to daydream. It's okay to meditate. A lot of people don't daydream anymore. They have earplugs in their ears and they're listening to music and stuff. You need to have the time to daydream, which means you have to be in a passive mode. And to you, it involves when you allow your brain to be in a passive mode, when you meditate or you just daydream. The brain is actually very, very active. It's very active. And you may not be doing a whole lot, but your mind, even though you consciously are daydreaming, your mind is sending off all kinds of flashes. This has been proven in psychological tests that have been done, and you can find it out there when you look for something that how does daydreaming affect the brain. The brain is very, very active. It's firing off a lot of neurons. It's very active when you are in that kind of a state where the body is not as active, but the brain is. You are giving that time to the brain to do what it needs to do. You're pushing your ego aside at that time. So your ego's not controlling what's going on in the brain. And it makes for sudden, brilliant insights, inspirations, okay? Or sudden connections are made when your brain is not focused on what you're doing with your day, or you just had or the some person's attitude that you had a fight with or something, or it's not concentrating and focusing. Okay, when you are daydreaming, you are opening your mind to be connected. Okay, to be connected to something beyond yourself. And when that happens, imagination and creativity are triggered in that state. Okay, and that's scientifically proven. It will trigger the imagination and the creative parts of the brain. And so it's best to be unplugged when you do this, because music, podcasts, environmental noise recordings, those people that listen to those environmental noise recordings, they drive me crazy. Like waterfalls and birds chirping. I got enough birds in my own backyard. I don't need it to meditate. But people use those things. They are distractions for the brain. They are distractions for the brain. So unplug from these things, because these distractions are going to keep you from having these moments of clarity, these insights, these inspirations. They are a distraction. Unplug, okay? Unplug. And so that there are no distractions. Because when there are distractions, you're not leaving space in the mind or in the brain to daydream, to meditate, to make that connection. You're distracting the brain, and it's not going to make that connection. So pay attention to other things as well. Okay, moving away from that little piece about the brain. Pay attention to coincidences. Pay attention to coincidences. Too many times we brush them off, and coincidences can be an amazing way. And I wish people would quit trying to call me. Okay, so it can be an amazing way for us to make those surprising connections. Okay, when we have a coincidence, take a look at what's going on with it. Okay, because they lead to a new trail for you to explore. Why are there so many coincidences happening? It's like people see the numbers 111 or 1111 a lot. And then they have to go research, why am I getting that? Well, it usually means that the Spirit's making a connection with you. You have a connection, and it's a signal for somebody. And there's other meaning to it, so go research it if you're seeing that. That's a coincidence, okay? Or certain things will happen. I have friends that go, they do the labyrinth thing, or they go do the walk. I used to do them all walks myself. Finding coins, finding paper dollar bills. As you are walking, coincidences, that messages from your angels that here, opportunity, here, abundance. And I always pick that stuff up. It's just like, I ask for abundance, ask to be able to pay my bills, and then I get an answer. Here's a little money on the ground. Well, maybe it's a penny, and I say thank you for the abundance, and then the real money comes in later, because I've showed the gratitude for even the smaller amounts. If you show the gratitude for even the smaller amounts, and you say thank you for the abundance, more will come. More will come. So pay attention. Look at the coincidences, okay? And look at contradictions. The other thing is contradictions. Look at contradictions. They may not make sense at the time, okay? And even if they don't make sense, question the contradictions. And contradictions can actually lead to an epiphany. If you look at things and you look at the contradictions between the two. It will also cause you to wonder about things. It'll make you curious, and it'll make you doubt, and it'll give you a reason to explore. And when you get that reason to explore, you get more clarity. You get more clarity on a situation, and then you suddenly have your little aha moment again. And it's really nice when we have those aha moments. Sometimes I don't think we get them enough. I have people that will just sit there and beat their head against the wall because they don't have those aha moments, but they walk around with the earbuds plugged in, or they're playing the loud music at 11. I just hit the 11:11 segment time left, so I've got 11. I had 11 minutes and 11 seconds left, and it's just as I'm talking about this, and I just glanced over, and that's what it was. So I've got that little thing going on here too. So especially when you have the contradictions, take action on it. Okay, take action on it. Take action on your insights, whatever they may be. And especially if they come with a sense of urgency. Oh my gosh, people may even try to ignore that because they think they have a better agenda, but they feel suddenly it's urgent. It's urgent for something, to be done. It needs to be done now. It needs to be done. And I've had those little senses of urgency. And it's just like, okay, I've got a sense of urgency. I'm going to take care of what it is that I need to be doing now, because there's a reason for it. And usually if I take care of whatever it is that needs to be done now, it's because suddenly somebody will call me and say, hey, I need to do this and this, and I need help. Okay, it could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be a client, it could be anybody. And it's just like suddenly that insight of, okay, I just finished everything I needed to do. And I did it with a state of urgency. Now my day is open to go and help a person, to go and deal with something else. That I had that urgency, and it cleared time on my calendar. It cleared my space. It cleared my, now I can help you, or now I can do this. And sometimes it's just an invitation. Hey, I'd like to go out. Let's go see a movie, or let's go eat together, or I'll get a call suddenly, boom, from a family member. Yeah, I need help finding something at a store. I can't find it myself. Okay, I just cleared the rest of my calendar, the rest of my day. I am available, and so it gives me time to give other people time. So if you get that sense of urgency, it may not always be something fantastic. It may not be something to change the world, but it's an urgency, okay? And you have that insight, you have that inspiration that suddenly you need to do something. Get up and follow that. Get up and follow that. And it may just be for a small thing. It's okay. Like I said, you don't have to save the world because you have inspirations or insights. They can be something small, and they can be making yourself available for other things. If you don't make yourself available, if you don't follow that urgency and do what it is to do, you may have missed opportunities. And it may be something great. It may be something great enough that, we need you right now to come in for a job interview, or we have an open appointment. If you've been waiting for a dental or medical appointment or something else, we have an appointment opening. And if you can get here within the next 30 minutes, well, you're already ready because you followed that sense of urgency, did everything that you were supposed to, you had gotten yourself ready, and you did follow that inspiration. So it allows you to bring more into your life that is necessary. And when you have that sense of urgency, act on it as soon as possible, if not immediately. Usually it's an immediate thing unless it's something I'm in the middle of and got my hands wet, okay? But it may be the difference between success and end game. And it may be the difference between missing an opportunity or winning an opportunity. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some things that were not given to me by Spirit, that I actually did find on the internet. And we're going to hit some of them very quickly. And they're called the characteristics of and behaviors of highly creative people. And what they do differently. What do they do differently? Well, they do daydream, and we did talk about that. They do daydream, and the creative types know, despite their what their teachers may have told them, that daydreaming is anything but a waste of time. They know about that connection. It comes from somewhere else, or they think it comes from an insight within themselves. And mind wandering can aid in the process of creative incubation. Okay? And many of us know from this experience, this is where our best ideas come from, is when our mind is somewhere else. Okay? And it also allows you to recall information. When you daydream, you suddenly recall information you thought you lost. But it also makes for a creative person to see possibilities that are everywhere. Okay, and it's good to have that because it makes for a creative impression and allows them to express that creative impression that they've made. That way, a person who writes all the time, and if you look at some of the habits of writers, I believe if you put in the Google habits of creative writers or best-selling authors, their writing habits, it's going to come up. Some of them have some very unusual ways of doing things. One insisted on using a typewriter. One only wrote in the middle of the night. Another one would write early in the morning. So the thing is that they find hours that work for them, and that's another thing on the list. They find hours that work for them. A 9-to-5 job is not when they can do the work. They find their own schedule, and that's because their mind is sparked with inspiration differently from people who live on a clock, okay? They structure their days according to their own time clock within themselves, their inspirational time. And they take time for solitude. It's okay to be away from people, and it's okay to take that as your creative time. A lot of people have this fear of being alone. I have days where I have nobody around me. I mean, this is one of those days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and sometimes Sundays. It's just like during many hours of the day, if I'm not out teaching. If I'm alone, I have a lot of the creative time. I have a lot of time with spirit. I like the solitude. And I get a lot done. A lot of people go, oh my God, I don't know how you get so much done. And it's just like I take that solitude and I do things. I get a lot done. And when people have that time to be alone, they're very creative. And if you look at creative people and artists, they're often stereotyped as being loners, but that's because that's their creative time. That's their time when they do their best work. There's nobody else around. And I understand that a lot. They allow their minds to wander, and they allow themselves to express what it is that they need to in the way that they need to. They also turn life's obstacles around. Okay? You will see a lot of stories and songs throughout history that are very iconic. They're gut-wrenching, they have the pain, they have the heartbreak, and they have the silver lining. And it's usually post-traumatic growth. So people are taking the obstacles in their life. I think Taylor Swift writes her hit-selling songs when she breaks up with some boyfriend, and then she throws her guts out on recordings in her songs, and she sells them because people identify with them. So throughout history, people have talked or wrote about or sung about their trauma. Okay, and their growth, and it's in the in relationships, in spirituality, in the appreciation of life, personal strength, and this is when it comes through. It comes through in a creative way. So you're taking the obstacles in your life and you're turning them around. And I'm going to go. Let's see. It says I have more time here, so I'm going to take up that time. So anyway, they fail. These people that are creative, they fail, and what they do is they take that failure, like Edison did, and they take it and try again. They try again. They get off their ass. They failed. So what? They learned from it. What can I do different? How can I grow? How can I make this successful? They fail, and that's a good thing. That's a growth thing. They ask the big questions. They people watch. They take risks. And they view life as an opportunity for self-expression. Okay, what I'm going to go ahead and do is end the show for the day. You can contact me. Go to www.sanctuaryofsacredspace.com, and you can contact me there or look me up on Facebook.
psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual